Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Planner Actual. My name is Matt Jarvis, and today we're going to go over the Monticello offering from Franklin Planner. We'll look at a couple of the different ones. We'll look at the 2 pages per day, which is the planner that I'm using right now. We'll also take a peek at the 2 pages per week and 1 page on a day, as well as some other forms. We'll do some comparing and contrasting to other fillers, just so you get an idea what is what. Now, this is the core planner for Franklin Planner, which means that it's been around for a while. They support it with a lot of different fillers, a lot of different forms are available. It's one of their most popular items. Let's go ahead and just get started right away, jump right into it. So this, what we're looking at here, is the 2 pages per day, and this is the one that I'm using. And I'll show you how it sets and how it looks in my binder. I use the Tyler binder for my everyday carry. I'll give you a peek of that in just a minute. But let's go ahead and unbox this. Of course, everyone, they all have their cover page, and they also all have the demographics. Now, here's what I do with mine. I have a card that in a little sleeve, and I just put my business card in there for the family. So if I have that card available in case I wanted to give that to someone else, I could just hand it to them. And every planner has the quick start guide. And on this side, you're going to have calendars going forward for several years. And then we get right into it. Here are the monthly tabs. And all the monthly tabs, like every other filler, you have an index going in. And as you go out of the month, you're going to have your master task list. So this is I like the layout. I also like the color scheme. It's very nice, very easy on the eye. It's kind of a background color. It doesn't shout at you like some others, fillers. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's just that this one is more kind of a blends in. It adds to the flavor of the planner, in my opinion. So the days, the lines on the days are grayed out. They're not stark. Some of the planners they're dark. I like it so it's a little bit lighter. Of course, you have the notes on the right-hand side. Across the top is the month. The font is very nice. All the planners have the major U.S. holidays as well as moon phases, which is also nice. This layout on the Monticello is the exact same layout as it is for the Carrera. The difference in the two is the coloring and the font. I'll show you just a second. There's also one other major difference that might be a deal breaker for you. Of course, as we go through the months, here's the task list and the index as it goes through. Now, this particular filler is a July to June, so it splits the year. And let's get right into the actual filler pages. So as you go into the month, you're going to have an index, just like you have an index on the calendar. So you have 2 indexes, or you can repurpose that for whatever you want. You'll notice there's a little bleed through. And if that's a deal breaker for you, this is one of the things with the Monticello. My pens, I use friction pens. They don't bleed through. Neither do the highlighters, the friction highlighters. I also will use a Sarasa Dry in 5.05, 0.5 tip. And it does not bleed through either. But that's one of the differences between the Monticello and the Carrera. The Monticello pages are 20 pound, which is the same weight as printer. The Carrera, which this is a Carrera, they're 24 pound. You can see there's no bleed through. It's a little bit heavier paper, but it's a little bit more Spartan, more, there's no coloring. It's a little bit just, to me, it's stark. Even the font and everything is all grayed out. That's why I chose the Monticello. And I can live with the paper being a little bit lighter. That doesn't matter to me. A little bit less weight in my planner. So the daily, you can see there's a full page for notes, which is important to me because I take a lot of notes. You may notice, let me show you this real quick, on the 7 Habits, which is an outstanding planner, and I really do like it. I was going back and forth between the Monticello and the 7 Habits planner. Maybe next month I'll go back to 7 Habits. But you can see a little bit in here in the 7 Habits. They take up quite a bit of space with the photograph, and on the bottom you can see more phrases, more wording. Top part is the same, but there's quite a bit lost in the note-taking ability in the 7 Habits. That's just, for me, that was, I needed the notes feel. And for me, actually, for the 7 Habits, it's a beautiful, beautiful filler. Coloring is magnificent. It's just a grand filler for coloring. It's just, I needed a little bit more real estate here for my notes, plus the scheduling side is set up better for me as well. It has a daily tracker. The daily tracker, not on the other, it is on the Carrera, but not on the 7 Habits. Here's where I put things like, and they recommend, mileage or expenses. I do that, but I also put in things like it's somebody's birthday, or I have income that's coming in today, or bills that are due. I'll drop that there. Prioritize daily task list, a lot of room here. I make a header for home and then a header for office, and I still have plenty of space. This has, I like the font too, it's really nice. The font is different in here than it is in the other planners. You can see here's the Carrera planner. The font's a little bit different. I like this one quite a bit better, actually. This also has the calendar for the month you're on, and the day that that you're on is highlighted and it's black. And then it has last month and the month they're coming into, which is handy for me because it's not uncommon where I look back a month or look ahead a month, and that's simpler than me having to go back to the actual front page and looking at the calendar, which I'm having a hard time getting into here. To go back and look here, I can just look monthly on this. The appointment schedule is 8 o'clock to 8 o'clock with some lines in front and behind, and it's in an hour block. Some of the other planners will have just 2 lines, so the hour block is just the hour and the back half of that hour. But here it would be 8:15, 8:30, 8:45, and then the hour. For me, that's handy because a lot of times at my work, people like to schedule meetings not on the half hour or the hour mark. So it gives me a place to drop that in there. And as we go through the planner, one thing about notes pages is that Franklin Planner, on all their fillers, they'll drop in blank pages on the months that have 30 days or less, February. So there's blank filler pages for you. But again, the Monticello is supported completely, so you can get blank pages for the Monticello. You can even get blank cutaway pages for the Monticello. Cutaway pages they're short pages. You can put them here. I use these actually quite a bit when I'm taking notes. If I have notes that are filling up, I'll get a cutaway and drop it in so I can put the date so it matches. But they were really designed for planners that are 1 day per page because there's very little room for note taking. I'll show you that in just a minute. So again, if you don't mind the bleed through, and it's not that big a deal really, and actually it has a little bit of flavor to it, a little bit of razzle dazzle in my opinion. As we go through here, let's go to November and see if November has any blank pages. August, because 30 days have September, April, June, and what do you call it? Oh, look at that. In November 30th, there we go. There's a blank page, just as promised. Oh, there's only one. Sometimes I'll throw in 1 or 2. But again, on this one, you can buy extra ones. Okay, now as we get to the back end of this one, all the way to the end, there are a couple of other things here. Oh, look, here's some more blank pages. Oh, there's only 1, but you can get more of these. They're not very expensive. Every filler has the holidays and observances, and also the planning calendars extended out. Okay, there's the future planning, and that's what it is for the 2 pages per day filler. Now let me give you a look at the weekly filler. Well, no, I'll tell you what. Let's look at the 1 day per page. And I've taken all the calendar tabs out of this one, and look at that. It's the same format, same font. Everything is pretty much the same. It's just been reduced a little bit because now instead of having appointment schedule on this page, notes page here, it's all on one page. So like, here's the second of that month. Of course, calendar's at the top again. One thing you are missing on this is there's no sayings, no mottos or anything like that. Here is your prioritized daily task list. It's pretty good size. And your appointment schedule, and now we're into half-hour marks instead of the 50-minute increments on the 2 pages per day. Daily notes page on the bottom. There's really a lot of room here. If you don't have a lot going on, but you want to keep track, this is really nice. Now, this, if you don't, again, here's where I don't have enough room for notes. So all of a sudden I've got more notes to write. That's when you come into the cutaways. They go right here and they fit perfectly. You can still see the date, and you can put the date here if you wanted to, but it just drops right in. And what I'll do on mine is, on my planner, is I've taken the cutaway notes, I put them in a separate area, tabbed area, and then I take scissors and just cut here. And I cut on a bias. That way they have never fallen out, but that way, in my mind, it would stay in a little tighter. And then when I need to pull one out, I just go there and put it out and drop it right in. I don't have to undo the rings to get them in there. Look, and that's the 1 day per page. But again, we go through here. Very nice looking. This one doesn't have any note pages in it. I'm sorry. We're going to just double check that. November 30th. And no, there are no note pages. The note pages is on the back of the month. Okay, that's the, this is the 1 day per page. One thing I just noticed is, in the December, it's lighter colored. Possibly as an indication that you're coming to the last part of the year. Okay, I just noticed that. They're so clever at Franklin Planner. Now let's take a look at the Monticello weekly. Here is it's the same, even on the, actually the 1 day per page has a little bit more condensed calendar. But the weekly, same calendar format as the 2 pages per day. Let's go ahead and get out of that and take a look at what this format looks like. The weekly task list here, and then it's a vertical format, Monday through Sunday. The weekends are a little smaller because I guess Franklin Planner expects you to take some time off at the end of the week. And here's the time frame. Of course, it's in quarters, and you would just extend it over if you were marking down a schedule here. I'll show you that on mine. At the bottom is a daily task list for each day, or you can repurpose that as a daily tracker or notes if you needed to. Now, one thing about the Monticello weekly is that, you see how I turn this over? Here's the next week. And that week is combined on 2 pages. And we start again the next week. Now, some of the other planners, specifically the original, when you look at the original 1 day per page, and I go to the next week, it starts on that page. So there's less pages involved. That's the deal for you. But what you don't get is, you don't get a weekly notes pages on the original like you do here on the Monticello. Again, 20-pound paper, a little bit of bleed through. That's really not a big deal. Your pen doesn't bleed through, so it's really, really a nice little setup. Now again, I'm using the Monticello 2 pages per day, and this is what it looks like in my binder. So I'm using, and the other thing is, they just came out with this, it's very nice. It's the Monticello page lifter. The way to put these in when you're putting the weekly compass is you go all the way to the bottom and then tip it in instead of trying to bring it from the top down. Otherwise you bend it up. I use the friction ink and friction highlighters. And the reason I like friction is, let's say I made a mistake there. Oh, that's not happening, or I need to move it. I can just rub it out. Anytime I get above 140 degrees, either by friction or by heat, it's gone, and you can easily write over it again. It's very simple, and I can highlight it if I need to. As I said, I broke mine down into home and office, And I'm using the daily tracker for other things as well. So I use the entire page. I love the setup. I love the font. It's really flexible for what I need to do. Here's the notes page. And it's not uncommon that I have notes all over. And sometimes I get messy if I'm taking a note. So it's not here, it's all over. This is the 2 page per day, and I use that. My setup is like this. I have the monthly layout, and I use the monthly layout for a big overview of everything going on at one shot. And then I'll use the weekly, and this is the weekly setup. I use a progressive task list to mark my weeklies. This is for when I can look and see what's happening this week. Things I have to look out for, what's coming up this week, a little bit closer. I've gone from a 10,000 foot, now I'm down to 1,000 foot. So I look at the month, and I plan for the week, and then I live in the day. This really lasers everything I'm doing down to one area. So I start my morning off by looking at the month to make sure I'm not missing anything, and then the week to see what's coming up, and then I leave this open all day long so I can see what's going on there. Okay, that is a quick overview of the Monticello lineup. Leave me a note at the bottom or so I can get back to you if you have any questions. And it's been very fun, and we'll look forward to seeing you again soon. Once again, Matt Jarvis, Planner Actual. Thank you so much.